Okay, candidates, let's get information. Okay, so this has nothing to do with Beyonce, although I will say I do love Beyonce, but I do want you to get information and be ready for the placement exchange in San Antonio, Texas. My name is Tynesha McCullers, and I am currently a graduate student at the University of Vermont, and I am a former TPE intern who interned in Indianapolis last year. And during my time as an intern, I learned so many tips and tricks that I want to share with you and also share with myself because I'll be a candidate this year. So I don't want to waste any more of your time. I just want to jump right in so that we can all get information, and keep in mind that San Antonio is, it's like two or 3 days away. I don't know. It's like right around the corner, and we all need to be prepared for this job search process. So I'm just going to jump right in. The first tip that I have for you is making sure you stay hydrated. I know people can't say it enough, but we need to stay hydrated. We need to make sure that we're drinking plenty of water, making sure that we use all of the resources that the placement exchange has provided for us, and that we're bringing our own bottled water or our water bottles to the placement exchange so that we can hydrate and drink water in between interviews and sometimes during our interviews, because talking a lot to a lot of people can make us very thirsty. So make sure that you are staying hydrated, that you're drinking when you leave the convention center, that you're making sure you're drinking plenty of water while you're in the convention center. That is so important. And it helps regulate your body as well. So make sure that you're staying hydrated and drinking plenty of water during your time at TPE. The next tip that I have for you is make sure you are taking breaks. I have to say that twice. Make sure you are taking breaks. It is so important that you take breaks during your time at TPE, because if you don't take breaks or take time in between interviews or time for yourself, you are going to feel it, whether you feel it in the evening or if you feel it midday or in the afternoon. You are going to feel it. So make sure you are taking time for yourself. If that means taking 30 minutes or even 45 minutes in between interviews so that you can breathe and maybe even color or have something to eat or something like that, make sure you're making that time for yourself. And you can even listen to your favorite music that might be soothing, or podcasts. I guarantee you I'll be listening to podcasts. I love podcasts. But just make sure that you're taking time in between interviews, especially. It allows you to recuperate and decompress after interviews, or even prepare for your next interview. So make sure that you are taking breaks. My next tip kind of follows in the same lane of taking breaks for yourself. Make sure that you are eating. And I know a lot of times people say, make sure you're eating and that you're getting all the most important meals of the day. But it is so imperative that you eat something. And I can recognize that it can be a very stressful, anxiety inducing time to be having to interview with employers and being around a lot of people at once. And sometimes our stomachs are not really feeling having something to eat, but it is imperative that we eat something. So my trick for you, or my tip for you rather, is that you are eating something, whether it's a protein bar or peanut butter crackers, even foods that are really rich in protein, so that you don't have to eat a lot of it, but so that your body is sustained throughout the day, especially throughout interviews and everything like that. So please, I urge you to make sure that you are eating during your time at TPE, before interviews, in between interviews, and especially during the evening. My next tip for you is making sure that, and this might seem a little weird, but make sure that you're checking the weather. I know that I've been checking the weather for about the last week and what it's going to look like in San Antonio. And right now it's like rain and it's pretty warm, but make sure that you're checking the weather before you leave your hotel or your Airbnb to just see what the weather is supposed to look like so that you can dress accordingly. And even if your clothes for your interviews do not necessarily accommodate the weather, making sure that you dress over to the convention center a way to accommodate the weather and that you're able to change. Just make sure you prepare as best as you can by checking the weather and knowing like, hey, it's going to be extremely hot today, or it's going to be very cold, or it's going to be raining. Make sure you're checking the weather before you leave. My next tip kind of goes without saying. If you're making sure you're staying hydrated and that you're taking breaks and that you're eating, it is imperative that you get rest. You need to be making sure that you're getting sleep. I cannot say enough that my time as an intern, I was going from 7 to 7 almost every single day. And it's important. You think, oh, well, I normally can stay up late. It's important that we're getting rest, making sure that you know your body better than anyone else. So if 6 hours of sleep is what is optimal for you and it works for you to be at your personal best the next day, then make sure you're getting those 6 hours of sleep. If it's 8 hours or 10 hours, try to make sure that you're getting plenty of rest during your time at TPE so that you can be ready for your next day. Please, 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 please sleep. Please get plenty of rest. It might be easy to kind of stay up and prepare for interviews and everything like that, but make sure you're making time to not only prepare for those interviews, but so that you can get optimal rest. In that same vein, my next tip, which might not really be considered a tip or a trick rather, but I feel like it has to be said because it's not said as often. It's okay to say no. Yes, it is okay to say no. It is okay to say no to friends, cohort mates, or employers as well. So when I say it's okay to say no, I mean, sometimes it's exciting and it's a great time to be in a different city with your friends or people in your cohort or even people you just met who are colleagues in this field, and you want to get to know them and hang out with them in the evening. But sometimes you're just too tired, or you know that it would not be helpful for you to stay out late. It is okay to say no. It is okay to say, hey, maybe not tonight, maybe tomorrow night, or at the end of the placement exchange, or even like, hey, at NASPA, or even just kind of coming up with other ways for you to connect with other individuals. It is okay to say no. And in regards to employers, sometimes employers have reached out to us and maybe we're not interested in their institution, or they might have an interview time that's just not helpful for us. It's okay to say no to an interview. It's okay to say no to an interview that might be scheduled back to back with another one, especially if you know that you won't be your best if you're going from interview to interview. So it's okay to say no. And in that same token, if you're going to say no, make sure that if it's something that you really want, so if it's an interview with an institution that you really want or a position that you really want, if you say no, offer some alternative options. So maybe I can't interview at this time because it's back to back with another interview that I have, but perhaps we can interview at this time on this day, or maybe we can do a phone interview or a Skype interview at a later date. Is that an option for me? Just making sure that, yes, you are saying no, but if it is really something that you want, offer some alternatives. It can't hurt to ask, right? Okay, my next tip kind of goes with, well, not really goes directly with, but if you're not going to be saying no, recognize that being at the placement exchange, especially in San Antonio, with all of these employers and colleagues and individuals that have gone to graduate schools across the country or that have been in our field for years, it is a great time for you to network. It is a great time for you to get to know other individuals and hear about other institutions. So I recommend, and I highly recommend that you're getting to know different employers at the placement exchange. But not only that, that you're getting to know other candidates. It is so important that we recognize as candidates, we are going to be the new faces of student affairs. And so why not get to know each other? Why not get to network with one another? Because we never know where we're going to end up. So make sure that during your time at TPE, you're networking and getting to know other individuals. Yeah? It's important. And it can kind of alleviate some of the stress during that time being at the placement exchange. And my final tip, and I think this is going to be a tip or, like a community standard for any type of event, is have fun. We as I said before, we're the future of student affairs. We're going to be meeting each other. We're going to be meeting different colleagues. And it's a great time to be searching for jobs. It's fun. It's exciting. It's invigorating. So make sure that this event is not stressful or as stressful, making sure that we make the most of this time here in San Antonio, and that we are recognizing that it's not just about being stressed out and it's not just about finding a job, but it is also a time for us to have fun and explore a different city and meet other people and, well, yeah, get a job. So those are all my tips and tricks that I have for you during your time in San Antonio, Texas at the Placement Exchange. As I stated in the beginning, my name is Tynesha McCullers. I go by Ty, candidate number 408. Yeah, that was definitely a shameless plug. But I am so looking forward to meeting employers as well as other candidates just like me at the Placement Exchange. It has been so wonderful to talk to you all, and I will see you in a couple of days. All right. Have a good one. Bye.